Well, we have joining us a diabetes advocate, a Blue Circle champion of the International Federation, director and producer of the first diabetes reality show in the U.S., Charles Mattox, joining us via Skype from Florida, USA. Good morning and thanks for joining us on the show today.
We're still here. How are we looking?
Very
great.
well.
Good
You're
morning.
looking good already. Now, talk to us. Diabetes continues to be some kind of a death sentence, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, where countries like Nigeria actually has the highest, prevalence rate of diabetes, 3.9 million, and between the ages of 20 and 79. Talk to us about diabetes and, of course, the predisposing factors. It looks like our guest is not hearing us.
Are we still on? How are we looking, guys?
Yeah,
We're
hi,
very,
we can hear you, Charles.
very
You're on right
on.
now. Can you hear us? Okay.
Hello, Charles Mattox.
All right.
Unfortunately,
Anybody there?
It seems obvious
okay,
that...
it looks like Charles cannot hear us.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Okay, the technicians will put that together. We have them back
indeed.
on. Now, when it comes to the issue of enlightening the people, you know, when you mention diabetes, one thing that generally comes to mind is sugar.
Exactly.
Too much of sugar and too much of drinks and too much of ice cream and cakes and all of that.
And then the next thing you start thinking about is, how do I cut out, all the sugar-laden foods? And like the expert said there, the nutritionist, it's really not about cutting out foods like gari or, other foods that...
pounded yam or
Thank you. But it's about reducing the quantity. Of course, while you ensure that you complement those foods with vegetables and fruits. One thing that I took away from what she said was, look, as much as you can, stay away from fizzy drinks.
Yeah,
all the colas and
the issue there is
minerals.
We had an expert sometime who said, so you hear some ladies, especially the ladies sometimes, who want to, because they react quicker to some of these things.
Yes.
And you hear them say that, I don't want to take this, I don't want to take that, I don't want to take this.
Yeah.
But you see, it has to do with their balance of food, because if you're not taking sugar for it, if you're not taking carbohydrates,
you're not taking your fats and oils.
Are you balancing with fruits? Are you taking minerals? Are you taking all of that? So it has to do with the actual balanced diet. If you're taking a balanced meal, then you can actually have your pounded yam or your yam.
With loads of vegetable soup, for example.
Very good.
Yes.
So if you take a lot of afang, for instance, it goes a long way. And then, it has to do with lots of vegetables.
Yeah, but a more
foods.
troubling one is juvenile diabetes, which is very much on the rise in this part of the world. In Lagos, for example, I was speaking with an expert, and he was like, "Look, if you go to Luth, you'll be amazed at the number of underage kids, young children that actually have type 2 diabetes." Yes, that's another factor.
Yes.
The hereditary part of it, but. Some experts would even tell you that there is some kind of anomaly when we say that a disease like diabetes is, what's the word you use now? Hereditary. That it's mostly lifestyle. Most of these diseases that we call hereditary are actually lifestyle. And as a matter of fact...
Okay. I think we have Charles back.
Okay, Charles is back. Hello, Charles Mattox. Are you, can you hear us?
I can hear you fine.
Oh, great.
Fantastic.
Great. Nice to have you now.
Thanks for bailing us out, because really we are not the experts as far as diabetes is concerned, But talk to us about the predisposing factors to diabetes. A lot of people have linked it to hereditary factors.
Yeah, that is a part of it, but it's also, especially when it comes to type 2 diabetes, they call it a lifestyle disease. When I was diagnosed, I was probably a little bit overweight. I wasn't eating the way I should. I wasn't drinking certain things that I should be drinking. So it's type 2 is a lifestyle disease. Obviously, type 1 is a very different condition, but we can combat type 2 diabetes by what we eat and what we drink and how we live our life.
All right, Charles, let me stay with you on this. The point there is when it comes to enlightening the people as to what to eat and what not to eat, a lot of people already have this information, but it doesn't seem to be changing the attitude or the disposition to these things. You have a reality TV show to enlighten people about the dangers of diabetes. Talk to us about that. How impactful is this new dimension to enlightening people?
You know, I think the issue is that a lot of us don't feel when we have diabetes. So if I go out and eat a cake, it's not going to affect me. It's not going to make me feel a certain way that makes me react right away. I think a lot of us at times, we don't take diabetes serious because we don't see the implications or the ramifications right away. So what we do on the show is we bring 5 people to my home, and we help reverse who they are, what they are, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. At times, the most important thing is to look into that mirror and look at yourself and know that you have to make certain changes from mental, spiritual, physical standpoint. So the thing with diabetes and diabetics, I deal with them all the time. And they just don't take this condition seriously. And we know how this condition could lead to amputation. It could lead to blindness. It could lead to heart disease. It could lead to stroke, and ultimately can lead to death. So we have to really take this condition seriously, and we have to make sure that we get ourselves tested. There are probably tens of thousands, if not more than that, hundreds of thousands in Africa who don't even know they have diabetes, are walking around with very high numbers that are putting themselves at serious risk for death.
How dangerous is that when diabetes goes undiagnosed, especially for populations like ours?
Well, it's a pandemic. I mean, truly, it's a pandemic. We see that diabetes takes more lives than AIDS and cancer combined. So when we think about what it really is, I mean, think about it. If we had some outbreak of SARS or something like that, and we had 10 people die of that, it would be a major television, major news story. But yet we have almost 4 million people with diabetes can die in a year, and no one talks about it. It's not the biggest thing on the news. It should be, diabetes should be one of the biggest things on the news, and especially in Africa, and doing everything we can to save people's lives.
All right, Charles Mattox, advocate against diabetes. Thank you for joining us from Florida in the United States. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Very good tips there. You want